What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Doctor Strange issue number 2. Most recently, what we have seen is the return of Stephen Strange. While he was the Sorcerer Supreme of Death, he fulfilled his obligations and he was given life again. But in his absence, magical dangers have grown more bold and more dangerous. But now that Stephen is back, he is working side by side with his wife Clea Strange. Together, they have been defending Earth. But a new threat is slowly taking mystical players off of the board. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we jump into issue number 2, we are picking up in the Bronx the morning after Agamon's murder. Clea and Doctor Strange have yet to get the news on this. Right now, they are preoccupied helping out Moon Knight. You see, Moon Knight called them up because he's having a little bit of a problem, one that he needs a magical touch for. And we already know the kind of tension that stands between Doctor Strange and Moon Knight. And the tension is even higher because Clea Strange is in fact a fan of Moon Knight. They actually get along pretty well, where Stephen, on the other hand, he just doesn't like Moon Knight. Doesn't like his methods, doesn't like the way he does things. But all of that is being set aside because there is a little girl that has not woken from her sleep. And they have determined that this isn't something medically needed, but there is something more that is going on. Something is gone. As Doctor Strange begins to observe, he sees that her astral form has disappeared. And in this situation, Moon Knight might have been able to do something, but it's incompatible at scale. If Moon Knight were to open up his brain to this little girl, it would be like using depleted uranium shells to open a diary lock. So obviously, this requires a scalpel, not a fist. And the one wielding the scalpel, of course, is a surgeon. That is where Doctor Strange comes into play. With Strange grabbing his wife's hand, the two of them take off into the dream. They go into the realm of nightmare. But upon arriving in the dream realm, what they find is this place is completely depleted. Something very bad has happened here. At first, they think maybe this has something to do with the X-Men. Jean Grey and Nightmare just recently went against each other. But Doctor Strange says that the arcane signature isn't of mutant telepathy. Not sure who may be responsible. That is when Clea Strange goes to call out Nightmare, letting him know that the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension has come for his hide. But what they see is not Nightmare. What they see is a Fear Lord. This is almost like the polar opposite of Clea Strange. And quickly following behind is a Fear Lord that looks identical to Doctor Strange. As tensions begin to rise, we see Clea and Stephen, they go back to back. They take on these evil doppelgangers of themselves, and they quickly put them down. This is when it is revealed that they are phobivores. They beg for mercy. The only thing they were trying to do is defend their sweet king. After what was done to him, they worry on what might happen next. As Clea and Stephen are escorted to Nightmare, this is where we find him strung up on a tree with spikes coming out of his chest. And when he sees Strange, he says no more, that he begs him to stop. He did exactly what Strange had demanded. He left the children alone. He is begging not to be hurt anymore. Obviously, this puts both Clea and Stephen in a place where they don't fully understand what is going on. Nightmare appears to be believing that Strange is responsible for whatever has happened to him. They see that something else or someone else has been here and they did this, but they don't fully understand just yet. To understand this more, they must descend deeper. He thought simply defeating Nightmare and regaining the child's astral soul was going to be easy, but now they're gonna have to dive into the astral seas. As they go to find the astral soul of this child, what they find in front of them is a guardian. But much more than that, this warrior is the child's astral soul. And this armor that is surrounding the astral soul, it is not only protecting it, but it is keeping it imprisoned. While Doctor Strange works on breaking this spell, Clea Strange is the one to hold it off. She definitely is pulling her punches. She is not out here trying to kill this astral soul because it belongs to the child, but someone has weaponized it. And so Steven does what he does best. He takes the time, he meditates, and he breaks this thing free. He frees the child's soul. With the child's soul being free, we are picking up in reality. Not too long after, we see that the child reunited with his parents fully awake. They say their goodbyes to Moon Knight, and then they take off. But when they were in there, they discuss how they felt almost a shudder. He received a glimpse of something. What this was a network of constellation of burning souls. They are linked together by arcane bindings. They may have freed this child's soul, but she was just part of a far greater abomination. And then with Nightmare believing that Stephen Strange is responsible for his ruin, there appears to be a new enemy on the way. This is where Stephen Strange gets a priority transmission from Wong. He comes with dire news that there has been a killing, one of great importance. Agumon, warlord of the Purple Dimension, has been assassinated in his palace. The news of this detonates in the heart of Clea Strange. For a while, she thought she was able to catch her breath, that they could take on anything and be together. But now fear is coming in. The fear has returned, and she worries what the future holds for the two of them. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This one was definitely a quick issue. There's really not a lot going on, but it does drive the plot forward. You know, in issue number 1, we saw somebody go into Agumon and murdering him. And by all accounts, it seems like it is a Strange, maybe Clea, maybe Steven. And I think it's fair that we can rule out that Stephen Strange is out here murdering people. Now, Clea, on the other hand, she could very likely be out here being the culprit. But by the dialogue that we are getting, it really looks like someone is trying to set them up. Or maybe, just maybe, the possibility that this is Clea Strange, but she is unaware of what she might be doing. Much like Moon Knight's personality switching back and forth. They're not always aware of what the other is doing. But the most likely scenario is probably going to end up being someone disguising themselves as one of the Stranges and going and assassinating other warlords. To what end? This remains unknown. For what purpose, we have yet to figure out. But what we do know is that there is somebody out here powerful enough to take down Nightmare and Agumon, all within the same day, all with absolute ease. Which means the fear of losing Stephen Strange again is higher than it has ever been for Clea. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with Strange, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this story. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to getting free comics every single month. Not only does this help out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you are unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.